It's been months since I talked about my homemade microphone. It's the one I've been using all along ever since I built it. I actually built a new version. That's the one that's up here now. There's nothing really different about it. I just made the whole thing from wood. The windsock that I have on there is just a regular sponge that I got at Home Depot. I actually bought a bag of them for grouting tiles, and there's nothing special about that. Just drill a hole in, I slipped it over, and that blocks the majority of the wind. It also cuts down a little bit on the high frequency stuff here in the workshop. It kind of mellows your voice a little bit. And that's one of the problems I have with that mic. It seems to be a little bit brittle in the high end. Sometimes it can be kind of distorted. So I got this other mic to try out. This is a Sennheiser MKE 600, fairly expensive mic, or what I consider a fairly expensive mic anyway. It was $400, and my original mic, when you take away all the work I did to refine the design and all that, at the basic heart of it, it's just a capsule, a microphone capsule that plugs right into the camera. And what you're hearing right now is the sound being recorded into the camera through that homemade mic. And also the sound is being recorded from the Sennheiser mic into a Zoom H1. So they're both in the same area, same distance from my mouth, and that'll be a good point of comparison. What I'll do is I'll switch them back and forth. Both of these microphones are directional. They pick up stuff that's directly in front of them really well, and they reject everything that's around them and particularly behind them. So I'll walk 180 degrees towards the back of the camera, and I'll try to talk in my normal voice as I do it. And I'm facing the camera as I move around. Now I'm directly behind the camera at this moment. Whenever possible, you want to have the microphone, doesn't matter what kind, as close as you can to the person that's speaking. Ideally, pointing down from above gives the best results I've found. Some say pointing up also works. I haven't tried it. It's not really convenient for a workshop situation. Always better to be pointing down from above. Now I am about 8 feet away from both microphones right now, speaking in the same tone of voice, same volume as I was before. And you try to hear the difference between the two at this distance. Right after I got the microphone yesterday, I came out and tried it, and that seemed to suggest that the Sennheiser was better at a greater distance than the homemade one was. And I guess this will be more telling because I'm actually further away. Like I say, that's 8 feet. Now I'm going to walk around the table saw. I'm going to go slightly off axis. As I do so, at this point, I'm 90 degrees to the microphone, speaking in my normal voice. And now I'm around at the back, directly behind the microphones. I actually went in and reviewed how it sounded, and as you can hear, not a huge difference between the homemade job right here and the $400 one when you're in close. Bit of a difference when you're further away, but like I said, you really want to always keep the microphone as close to you when you're speaking as you possibly can. So here's the microphone that I was using, and like I said, there's not a whole lot to it. It's a $4 microphone capsule, unidirectional one. There's an article on my website where I wrote about it originally. It has the number that you can order it from. I'm not getting anything out of it, by the way. This is just to help out people that think that you need this, you need to expend this amount of money to get good quality sound, when actually you can get pretty good quality sound for very little money, as proven here. I didn't do anything to the sound clips that you heard. The only thing I did do was to make them the same level, because the Zoom H1 was recording just a bit lower than the camera is. Also, you can hear the quality of the camera recording. A lot of people don't record with the camera. Depends on the camera you have. The one I have does a pretty good recording, so that's what's recording now. I'm using a Sennheiser mic with my Sony camera. I was going to leave it at that, but I decided to come back out and add in a couple of other things that occurred to me while I was watching or reviewing that footage. First of all, audio is very difficult to do to get perfectly right. It's actually harder to get right than video is. Video is relatively simple. All you need is a decent camera. It really doesn't even have to be a good camera, and enough light, and bang, you've got good video. It can even be a little bit blurry, and people accept that, no problem. But audio, especially when you have different levels, also machine sounds, it's a lot of work to get it all right. I get a few comments every once in a while, and it really hits home because I try hard. I really work hard at getting the audio as good as I can. And it's not always about equipment. For the longest time, I had a problem with an audio codec on my computer was encoding the audio poorly. It was distorted, and I guess I didn't even hear it when I uploaded it. But when I go back and I listen to those older videos, I can hear it as plain as day. So that's something that's plagued me from the get-go. Also, where I live, my internet is very expensive, so I have to try to compress the file as much as I can before I upload it. Sometimes I'm taking a video, most of the videos after I'm done with them, usually at full resolution, are at around 4.5 gigabytes for a 10-minute video. So I'm cutting that down to sometimes as low as 300 megabytes. So you're losing a lot of information there. Sometimes that affects the audio also. And once again, I'm at a loss sometimes to figure out why it does. So basically, there's a whole bunch of other things that are in the chain there as well. So, starting off with good equipment is okay, but there are so many other things that can trip you up along the way as well. The best bet is to try to work effectively with what you have. Right now, I'm recording this audio with the camera mics only, but I'm close enough to the camera that it, gives me good audio. If I were to move, 10 feet away, it would fall off quite rapidly. I did all of the audio recording for the last video in the bandsaw mill, actually taking it out and testing it with the camera as the audio recorder. So it can be good, and you can work with it a little bit, but like I say, the best thing to do is to try to optimize the situation, try to get in closer with the mics, and you'll always get better results, even if it's cheap equipment to begin with.